You are about to watch a clip from the podcast I did with Andy Schectman. The full episode will be linked down below. I chose this clip to share with you because Andy's response was very interesting. It caught me off guard. Now, I was asking Andy about his true thoughts on silver's price, what's going on, and his response was a lot darker, a lot more conspiratorial than I originally thought that he would say, but it was very interesting, and it's definitely a part of the podcast that I wanted to highlight. So make sure you watch this all the way through, and make sure you go like and subscribe because we do this on a weekly basis. Remember, watch the full episode. It's linked down below. Enjoy.
Who's behind knocking it down? The Bank of International Settlements came out and they said, the drawdown in January was structural. It wasn't fundamental. It had a lot to do with rising margin rates by 300% in 5 weeks. It's one of these deals where I think you just have to trust your gut, have strong fingertips. This is why you don't buy it to become wealthy, because it will frustrate you, as it doesn't have a linear time frame and it's going to be volatile. But in the end, it always seems to keep up with the cost of living or the loss of purchasing power due to inflation over time. You own it because it is wealth. But I'm the first one to admit that this last one has been frustrating. But when the BIS comes out and says, look, they raised margin rates by 300%, that being the CME group. And just to explain what that means, we would have 2 million ounces of silver in our warehouse typically, and we hedge it, right? In December, it was $15,000, almost exactly, to own a 5,000 ounce contract. For us, it was to hedge just 5,000 of the 2 million ounces. So you have to have 15,000 sitting in a margin account. You can imagine how much you would need for 2 million ounces. It just sits there as collateral. Well, within 5 weeks, first week of January, they had incrementally raised margins over and over and over until it was $54,000 per 5,000 ounce contract. If you don't have $50 million sitting in a margin account, you're not having a big inventory. So the cost to hedge went parabolic. The public was selling into this rally, pushing premiums down for sure in the retail market as the new allocations came out for the 2026 coins that all the primary distributors had to load up on. At the same time that the levered ETFs got rebalanced the first 2 weeks of January, as they always do. They got out of whack. So the ETFs have to rebalance according to their prospectus. So put it all together. Margin rates that went up 300%, that created a massive amount of selling. If you had 110,000 in your margin account and you owned 7 contracts, you're right there. In December, 5 weeks later for that same position, you needed 3 times that amount over to have that's in the margin account. And if you don't post it, they sell it. So that created a ton of selling, which begat more selling and more selling as it hit stops on the way down. But then you rebalance the ETFs, as they had to the first 2 weeks. All commodity-backed ETFs go through the same thing the first 2 weeks of the year to reflect the prospectus. So you were guaranteed, between ETF rebalancing and margin rates going up 300%, a watershed event. And that the BIS, the most powerful bank in the world, came out and said that publicly. This is not fundamental. This is largely synthetic and structural due to ETF rebalancing and massive increase in margin requirements. You put into it the business side, the retail side. The public was selling nonstop, not really buying as much as they were selling, and the 2026 allocations that all the primary distributors are required to take, not just silver, gold, platinum, 1 ounce, half ounce, quarter ounce, 1/10 ounce, everything. Plus the other, mints that they work with. If you weren't hedging, you're screwed. You'd buy back something from someone before they left the office. The price was down. You're out.
How
If you are hedging, your costs went up 300%. It distorted the market unlike anything I've ever seen. Not only at the highest level because of the ETFs and the margin requirements, but at this level because it just was a perfect storm. So unusual time, man. And just like us paying $12 an ounce over spot for as many Silver Eagles as you'd sell me, or 9 over spot for as much junk silver as you would sell me during the pandemic, it's the opposite of that, has been for the last year. as everyone sold into the rally, and the market really got distorted through rebalancing and levered or margin increases along with the 2026 allocations. It was a liquidity thing. Primary distributors were pouring money out to buy back product and to buy the current stuff. Never seen anything like it. I would argue that it was an anomaly, a one-off. Next time silver goes straight up, I would argue the people that wanted to sell probably already did. And so maybe you'll see far more buying this time on the way up than you did this last one, where you had a lot of people who bought in during silver squeeze who finally said, this is my exit, I'm out, and made some money. Good for them. But I also think that you had capitulation by that segment, that the metal was transferred to much stronger hands moving forward.
Well, it's important to remember, last year at this time, if you would have told someone next year on July 16th, silver's going to be $56, they would be like, holy crap, silver broke above 50? It hasn't done that since 1980.
Right.
2011, it got close. And the funniest part is what pushed silver to $50 in 1980 was the Hunt brothers cornering the market, and taking delivery. But you'd be like, what? Silver's that high? And then I'm like, what's even crazier is next year when silver's 56, you're going to be looking at it like it's low. You're going to be mad it's 56. You'd be like, what? Right now it's like 30. What are you talking about? There's no way I would think 56 is low next year. See how people get desensitized to these higher prices and forget just a year ago that you're already up, almost double your money just in 1 year. So
Yeah,
I,
I
I think
get
that,
it. It's
yeah,
difficult because part of the reason is too is that this country lives under, in my opinion, unless things are changed forever, a faulty reality. My mentor Richard Russell used to say, if you make 7% a year compounding, you'll go down in the investment Hall of Fame. And due to the proliferation of things like Nvidia and Apple and Bitcoin and whatnot, this massive gains very quickly, it's not sexy enough. People dismiss it. Um,
hmm,
but, you know, double in less than a year, um, well, you do that every year, you'll become uber wealthy. And it's not normal, right? So yet people are upset by it. So I get it. It makes sense. But speaking realistically, yeah, I think that you're right in that statement, and people should reflect on that a little bit. Let's see where we end the year. I have a feeling we'll be higher, much higher. But again, trying to pick a number or to say, this is
yeah,
where I think it will be is foolhardy. I just believe it'll be
yeah,
higher based upon the flows that we are seeing right now. And look, gold and silver might be more oversold right now than ever before. So the market is ripe for a turnaround, for a bounce, with a tiny bit of open interest that's left. Moves like that can become outsized, can be much bigger, and the metal transferred from weak hands who jumped ship to the strong hands who hold it for the right reasons. That's the kind of market that you want to see price rising
yeah.
into.
And all it takes is one event, like July 24th, Trump's tariff deadlines hit the same exact day. China's closing one of their exchanges, forcing people to either take delivery or settle for cash,
What they're
whatever.
doing is basically saying that the public, unless they are a legitimate entity that hedges, like
Yeah,
a miner or whatnot, that they're not allowing it anymore. That you can buy all
yeah,
the physical gold and silver you want. They don't want any more speculating with futures. They're trying to achieve price discovery, whether it be that or the exchange in Hong Kong that opened up here last Tuesday that is immediate cash settling. And it settles, right? It's not just storage
right.
and delivery based on the Western price. It is cash settling. It's a market that is challenging the Western settlement system. So all this metal moving west to east, is it metal moving or is it a new system that is moving slowly from west to east, one that values immediate delivery, which is price discovery, right? And if you have a futures price that can distort the paper price, that's not the same thing. So this is eliminating the paper market for the majority of the players, only those that need to actually do it to hedge positions. That's why those entities will never stand for delivery, because they're hedging the opposite side. It's the speculators that have turned it into a casino, and that's kind of what they're trying to get rid of. I think not as big of a deal in China, certainly as it is here in the West, but I think little pieces, one by one, start to bring us much closer to real price discovery, something we've never seen in silver. And by as much as being gobbled up by some of these entities, something tells me it's worth more than the Western price claims
Oh,
it to
yeah.
be.
Oh, yeah. And on July 24th, you have U.S. economic data dropping in the morning. I think it has to do with like the housing market. And then on July 28th, you have the big FOMC meeting. So, all of those things happening, all of those individually would push and pull silver's price. But all of that happening right then, when silver's at such a crucial, period right now with the price doing what it is, that could be very good or very bad.
The silver market moves fast, but prices move even faster. Subscribe to Silver Slayer for daily updates.